Hey folks, Phil Davis, Ancestry Lands, ancestrylands.com. Wow, the YouTube channel is growing. Thank you for all the supporters. Thank you so much for the people who are making the growth of this channel possible. Thank you for all the businesses that we have worked with, U Alkaline 21, Pure Aromatics, tons of others, especially on the melanin market that we've done. If you haven't seen it, check out our videos and the Educate Yourself playlist, where we've worked with other companies, small businesses throughout the Northeast area that, got some visibility, that we took the time out of our work schedule, our marketing plan, our business model to talk to these businesses, support these businesses, and put them on our channel to give some visibility to them. I say that because this episode, I want to kind of talk a little bit about loving your haters. And when I say loving your haters, this video probably will be titled Love Your Haters. I mean in the sense of loving your haters as in the haters are going to come. All right. Haters will most likely be, and not being religious, but in the biblical sense, Jesus, whether you want to believe it or not, he had haters, and his haters were the people most closest to him. There will be people who are supposed to be there to want to see you succeed, people who are supposed to be there to have your back, your support system, people who say they love you, people who say that they care about you and they want to see you do well. And when you're doing well, they're not wishing you well. And again, this goes all the way to, it doesn't have to be where you are right now in business, whether you're successful or not, but even when you're in college, when you are, maybe say an athlete and you're worked hard and you've got the starting position. Okay. I'm talking about 18 to 24-year-old people here. You got the scholarship or the college degree to the best the school that's further away, this school you had aspirations for getting into. And in your circle, no matter who you're with, whether it be family, friends, more than likely family and friends, you're going to see people who, the little facial twitches are going to come in, and they're already going to start showing cracks in the facade of their face that they don't wish you well. Okay. They're not looking for you to do well. They already have a problem with the fact that you're starting a journey to achieve that destination of success, the pathway to success. They can see the separation that divide starting to enter the fray. And what I mean by that is that no longer whatever bound you at the current time, whatever you were friends based off that current time point, that is no longer going to continue. In your family, at that point when you get out of college, you and a sibling may both have a college degree, okay, in respective fields, which is great because there's a 1-to-1 ratio of your sister or brother both have degrees. You got a degree. Everybody's successful. And that's the first start, is that, we both have the check mark of the same thing. And that's when you're getting the certificates. All right. But the certificate in life requires, how can we say, more itemized deductions or qualifications on what it means to be successful. And as you start to achieve those things, like, something that separates you from the best, like I said about the starting position in college, when you get the starting position, no one else is in the starting position. It separates you from the second string or third string player. They know that when the lineup comes, whenever it's a basketball, whether it's a volleyball team and you're a girl, or you're doing any sport, whatever the starting lineup or the person that is going to be number one, that's going to be you. That won't be shared by anyone else. That means that in order to get to that spot, they have to take that spot from you. And that means that they're going to have to compete for that spot. Okay. Which again means that they either have to work at level or beyond your current level of success or effort that took you to get to that level. Okay. I have tons of nurses that I work with, and there are tons of more nurses or would-be nurses that didn't get into the program. There are more nurses that didn't pass the test or failed out of nursing school, or nurses that have not gone on to practice and develop in their, areas of study. Some nurses can handle graduating from being a nurse to practicing on the floor. When you have a patient there going into cardiac arrest and you are now responsible for that life, you've got to act. And that isn't, it's great when you see it on TV. You see the there's always the doctors, they always have it where the doctors are in the rooms and they're the ones doing the CPR. And as a nurse myself, a nurse for over almost 20 years come next May on the 2020, May of 2020 next May, being a nurse for 20 years, being a hospital nurse for near 20 years, and being in cardiac, basic life-saving CPR situations many a time. I mean, too many to count. Some made it, some haven't. Seeing the life go from people's eyes and that body go limp. That's not everybody. You're as a nurse, you're going to encounter that if you're on the floor. You're going to have it happen at least once in a decade. And that doesn't leave everyone the same. You have a realization now that it's real now. The life is in your hand. Maybe it's not your fault, because a lot of times if you're in an elderly setting, sometimes a lot of these incidents are due to lifestyle, the way a person's lived. Sometimes times are just up. But in that situation, when the doctors, the ER show or whatever show they have, the doctor's in there and the doctor's the one doing it. But realistically, it's the nurses that are in the patient's room when that code happens. What ends up happening is that 9 times out of 10, the nurses are taking care of the patient 95% of the day, and the doctors come in at the 5% of the day when they're doing rounds to talk to the patient, and then the doctor's seeing the rest of the patients that they manage in a hospital. So TV doesn't really give you a real world play-by-play of what real hospital life is like. And this is no, diminishing of a doctor's role, but doctors have certain teams that they work with that they have the entire hospital to take care of, which is why shows tend to be more on the ER, because it's a controlled setting where you have doctors taking care of the smallest population of patients, as opposed to multiple floors in a hospital. So not to get too much onto that point, but I'm just saying, hitting back to the fact that when what takes for a success, when the separation comes, when the hate starts to come in, is when people see you rising. Being an African American myself, I noticed that a lot of times within our community, the effort it takes for a person to be successful, and I don't think this is going to be any different for a lot of other communities. Maybe the level at which it happens will be smaller or even greater, depending on what community we're talking about. But I'm only going to speak for my own community. And you'll see a lot of times that you can be successful and people love it. But as soon as you get successful, people want you to be less proud of your success. They tell you to be humble. Oh, he thinks he's all of that. I've heard that I'm the king of California, meaning the king of, landowner in California, in the area which I sell land at, because of the sense of pride in my accomplishment. Again, that starting role, that being that number one spot, people look at it as, and again, it stems from some sort of inferiority complex where people are not happy for you to succeed. Truly, I had a friend, and I'll talk about him. His name's Don Coombs. He told me something that I'll share this with you. He's a great friend of mine. I've known him for 20 years. I'll give you a little bit of story about him, but I'm not gonna jump off too many points. But he was an older classman when I started off as a freshman in college. He was a person that I looked to as a mentor still to this day. And it's funny because you're going to see videos of him and I doing together. 20 years later, he's still a friend, still somewhat of a mentor, but he's someone that said to me one day, because again, I was successful and I was apprehensive or a little hesitant to talk to him about how successful I was. And he said, how can I be your friend if I'm not happy for your success? And that, wow, just shift my mindset to understanding of friends that are really happy for your success are real friends. And when I say that, I'm going to extend that to family members too. They're the ones showing you support. They're the ones that are, for me, liking my videos, the ones that are commenting. My mother, God bless her soul, comments all the time. My dad, he leaves these fatherly comments a lot of times on different pages or different videos that I've done, showing how proud he is of me as a father, and me being a father myself. That means a lot because it gives me a model on how to be proud of my children and acknowledge their success. And he does it differently because he has, my brother and I, we have different levels of success to measure by. And that doesn't mean that my brother's any less successful than me. He's very successful. I mean, he's a elementary school teacher in New York City, and the lives he touched, that has far-reaching implications into the future. But what you'll see time to time is that people who are happy for you, they're going to show up. They're going to be supportive. They're going to leave you a room or a place for you to talk about that success. And they're going to understand that you're not bragging about your success. When you get a nursing degree or you get a college degree, are you bragging about the fact that you got a degree? Now, to the people who don't have degrees, yeah, it's going to seem like you're bragging. But for another person that has a degree, they're going to understand that what you're bragging about is the hard work that you put in to achieve that goal or that accomplishment in life. And that's what people miss all the time. They miss that you're not bragging about the fact that you got to a place. You're bragging about the fact that you put in the work to qualify you to be at where you are on that destination on your journey. Let me say that again. People tend to hate what they believe is you bragging about the fact that you got to the top of that mountain. What they don't understand is you are actually bragging about the amount of effort, the amount of times you almost failed, the amount of times you had to put in more work, the times where everyone was asleep and you were still studying, you were still lifting, you were still polishing your skills or getting better or overcoming a failure that led you up to continuing on that journey to that mountaintop that they now call success. That's what they're missing. This is why they hate, because they only see the mountaintop. They don't see the path that you took to get to that mountaintop. Now, if anybody understands what I'm talking about, leave a like and a comment down in the comment section below, because again, this isn't just for me as a 40-year-old father of 3, married husband for 10 years. This is for anyone that has accomplished something in life and sat around talking about that accomplishment, and people looked at it as like, oh, you bragging now. And when I'm going to go back to the community is that once you do that and you get that level of success, people start to look at you differently. Like, they didn't see you working this whole time to get there. They didn't see you about to fail. For anybody who knows me going back 20 years ago, I didn't pass my nursing test until the 4th time I took it. There's a family that is up in Staten Island, New York. I'm going to mention them by last name only, the Vancotts. I was taking care of their daughter in home care, and they saw me fail, try again, fail, try again. And when I finally passed, they understood when I was happy and I came in that day and told them that I passed my nursing test, my NCLEX exam, after being 2 years postgraduate of trying to pass this test. And again, you've seen other videos where I talked about it. There's you didn't pass. That's how they give you the NCLEX. There's you didn't pass, you were near passing, or you passed. Each time I got that I was near passing, which meant that a question or two is what separated me from passing, and then I was near passing, which is still, you still didn't get the license. So I had 2 years of waiting for that. Now, fast forward to where I'm at now. My nursing skills, I don't think that any nurse that I work with will tell you I'm not a strong nurse. Strong nurse means that you're a nurse that other people can look to rely on. You're going to respond. You have good wisdom and good clinical practicing skills. And again, in the nursing world, people give you that achievement. That's not something that you can claim. Okay. That's something that you earn as a title. Doctors give you that respect too as well, because of your clinical practice skills, the way you are, your diligence in there. So in that world, you don't get the hate because lives are on the line, and what's at stake doesn't require the hate. Your success as a nurse is a resource to people. And that's the other part we're going to get to, is that the problem with the crab in a bucket mentality, the hate in the community, is that people don't understand when you get to that mountaintop, when you get to that place that people call success, people don't understand what happened now is you're bragging about the fact that you now have the path that you've taken to get to that mountaintop. You now can tell people how to climb up that mountain. But what people want is they want to be at the mountaintop without taking their own path, or they feel that their path is the only path that can be taken for themselves. I'm gonna let you digest that for a minute. Or they're looking at, if they're older than you, they're looking at their life and now they're measuring their success for your success, and they don't want to see you upgrade past them. It's like a old 88 Benz looking at a new Benz and just being like, well, I don't like, the GPS location on there. That Bluetooth's distracting. Instead of looking at that, I paved the way for this new BMW to be a continuing top model brand. I think the movie Cars had a perfect, I think it's Cars. Yeah, Cars, the first one, where you had the old Hot Rod. He was hating on the younger Hot Rod, McQueen, because of his journey. It had nothing to do with McQueen's journey. But again, instead of looking at, I guess he came to that part of, he eventually became a mentor because he saw that, the younger Hot Rod, he's just living his life. But instead of, and what he didn't end up doing was imparting those lessons onto the younger Hot Rod for him to understand that path of what got him there. How he got kicked off the circuit and how he could have done better, instead of teaching him that path at the mountaintop. Now, again, I'm going to tell you something. What you keep missing with this, the correlations here, is that I'm sitting in front of mountains. There's a house behind me, Ancestry Lands, one generation to the next. Okay. The reason why the house is there and the mountains are there, and you see the crown over my head with the sunlight, again, these mountaintops, again, you see these little lines, these little streaks, those are crevices. Okay. That's a path water took when these mountains had to merge together. My mentor Don and I, we talked about this, the pressure that it took to make these mountains top where they look beautiful for people to climb. And again, when people climb up this path and they get to those mountaintops, that journey, that pathway that they climb is what people tend to miss. They weren't there to see that. They weren't there in those days when they were alone and during the weather and the climate, when you had to dig deep to succeed, to get up to the next point, to the next level of elevation, to the next point, to the next point. When you're almost at the mountaintop, but you're tired, you're fatigued, you want to give up. People weren't there for that day to realize and check off the block. They were still enjoying themselves and doing what they did to be where they're at. So when you finally make it to the top and you want to tell people how you made it to the top, what do? He think he all of that. Oh, she thinks she this and that. Oh, they are Uncle Tom, was a phrase people like to use. They Hollywood now. They feel like they got on. Instead of looking at a person and saying, man, it must have taken a lot for you to get to where you're at. Now I'm not talking to the people, and I'm not going to be for people who got a helping hand to get their start. You got the thing about with Donald Trump. They said his father gave him millions of dollars to get started off. Well, I mean, I'm not talking about that. I'm going to talk about the people who got it out the mud, such as myself. And what you see is that when you get to that mountaintop, you're telling people about the path, the journey that you took to get there, and you're celebrating that. When a person, you're a football player, right? When you score a touchdown, okay, you're scoring that you got through 11 people on the other side trying to tackle you, trying to hurt you, trying to stop you from progressing. When you're a basketball player, a female basketball player, when you come from one side after the other team scored, and now you're going up, you're dribbling past that person, you got defenders. That's what these mountains are. They're the defenders. There's slippery slopes. There's weather. Those are all the things trying to stop you in life to get to where you're going to make that basket. When you make that basket, you cheer. People say, oh, they think they just scored. It wasn't no one on the court. There wasn't no one on the field, and you just ran straight. Even when you're a track athlete, I ran track in college. Okay, you're 18, you're a track athlete. You're running against time and everybody else. You're running against everyone else to come into a place, but you're also running against time itself. You're running against the weather. Not every track was, some tracks have different, different material that you run on. When I ran, our high school track was gravel. You had to have different cleats. So it's different equipment for every step on the journey to be successful. I'm gonna say that again. There's different equipment that you have to use along your journey to climb up the mountain to be successful. Not every equipment when you're on the lower part of the mountain is the same when you need it for the upper part of the mountain. For one, the temperature gets much colder, so you need to be warmer. When you're trying to be successful in life, when you get down the road, it's much different than when you first started. What it takes to be successful a year or two into business is much different than what it takes to be successful when you first started a business. What it takes when you first got into college is much different than what it takes for you to get a degree in college. The road becomes tougher. And what people see is they see the outcome instead of the journey. And that's where the hate comes from. So if you're a person that's ever done this, I think that what you got to look at, sometimes we all do it. We all have that. And again, we got to do a self-check within ourselves, especially what I see a lot of times in the community is that people see the outcome. They see the destination. They see the top of the mountain and they forget, man, this person had to climb all the way up to this point to be successful. And what I'm mad at is that they won't just get me up to the top. What they're telling me is to follow the path. Sometimes people may say, hey, find your own way, because when I was doing it, you weren't there to help me clear this path. And they're right. They're right. They have a right to feel that way because they took all the front risks. What you did was jumped on when they got to be successful. And now you want a piece of the ownership at the top instead of making sure that you were part owner on the journey, the work. Let me say that again. People want ownership of the outcome, the destination at the top. They don't want ownership of the labor and the journey. So you're right for thinking that way. Now, again, when you do that with people, there's a lot that comes with that. And the haters are going to hate for that reason. So I'm saying that, is it wrong that you think that way if you feel that way? No, absolutely not. It's never wrong that you feel that way because you took the risk. When I first started this land business, no one was there to take the risk with me. Like every other business idea or journey that I've had, I go down and go tell all my friends and my family, you look for support. People, oh man, that's good. Yeah, holla at me. Yeah, man, cool. And then you start doing it. You surface back up. You come back with all this good energy and success. And then the hate comes. Never mind the fact that you had to create a company. You had to create the Ancestry Lands name. You had to create the idea from generation to the next. I had to have that first contract, that first paperwork signed, sent. I had to manage the invoices. I have to manage the person paying every single month or the sale. I had to make sure the paperwork's right, that the escrow was good, that I got connected to the right title company. Never mind the fact that I had to make sure I had the right location to find the location that is desirable for people to want to own property in. There's no, again, that's a path within itself. Every little one of these mountains is every one of the aspects that it took for me to be successful. And it's not just the properties you see on the website or on the YouTube channel. Even getting in front of this mic to have the ability to teach you knowledge or impart knowledge on you, that was a journey in itself. I'm still climbing the mountaintop, still doing these videos to show you the pathway to become successful, to have the mindset to weather the storm for the haters. People who want to see you do bad, so that way they feel like you can become more humble. Why would anybody who says they love you want to see you become more humble, more quiet, when you're trying to make it in a world that's designed to push you down? If that was the case, if everyone was guaranteed success, then that would be a reason to be humble, because you're no different than the rest, right? But to be successful, to be a person that is doing something that stands out amongst the other people, your other peers. For anybody who's 30 years old and above, how many of your peers you graduated high school with have gone on to do less in life? They're not where you thought they would be, and they were most popular people in high school, right? Prettiest girl, prettiest guy. To me, I had hair once upon a time. I don't look like that anymore. I had curly hair. My kids got their hair. I got gray coming in here. I can't lose weight like I used to. I'm not even a measure of my younger self. For people who are in college right now, how many people dropped out of programs that you're in, trying to succeed in? They dropped out. They couldn't do it. We had people quit the nursing program. Too tough. People fail out. Couldn't pass. Right? Had people go to football, and anybody who plays football, you know this best too. And I'm only going to speak on sports that I know of, but everybody's a top athlete coming out of their high school, right? Get to summer camp, football camp in the summertime, starting running backs on their team, can't handle it, quit, right? Can't handle it when they get to that next level. So what do? They quit. And a lot of them people go on to hate you for being successful, because you were successful when the competition got stiffer. And again, the higher you go up on the mountain, like you ever look at people who climb Mount Everest, there's not a lot of people who climbed it as opposed to the people who tried to climb it. There are people who died along the way. And I'm going to say it again. That's what you're dealing with in life. So how do you combat that? How do you deal with the haters? How do you love your haters? First of all, you got to understand that, I'm going to say it like a famous comedian said, his last name is Williams. He said that if you have haters, that's the first part of success. Because nobody hates a loser, right? The reason why people hating on you is because they're envious of the fact that you have something that is unobtainable without massive amounts of effort. It's not duplicable, or you can't duplicate it so easily, right? It's the same thing playing a video game. Most people stop because it gets too hard. Most people quit a puzzle, a jigsaw puzzle, because it's too hard, because it requires something beyond the point of mediocrity. And what people don't understand, what they're hating on, is the fact that you push past mediocrity to a level above mediocrity to become exceptional. So when you have that exceptionalism within yourself, people tend to want to throw dirt on it and want to throw shadow on where light is. And that's a shame. It really is. It's a shame, but it's a natural phenomenon. And you're going to have less people who understand that path and that journey who are going to be cheering you on and supportive. So I say love your haters. Love the people who want to admonish you for being successful, because they are a reminder of the fact that you are successful, that you went past mediocrity, right? Because when everybody's got the same, everybody's happy and everybody can brag about being the same, but people really get kind of in themselves when it becomes something that's different. So this is the first part of loving your haters. The second one is that you got to keep haters at an arm's length, because what haters like to do is they like to get close, find out things that are you successful, and they're waiting on things for you to be failure at. They're looking for things to show that you're not who you are, things to look at that you're not successful, things to show that, Hey, they're the time they're dream shooters. You know, they shoot your dreams down. They punch holes in plans. They rarely listen to what you want to accomplish. They don't listen to your plans as they're developing them. They don't listen to your drive and motivation. They don't even listen to what goals you have. That's pretty much them imparting their themselves onto you. Oh, here's what you should do. Oh, you're going to feel like this and you're going to be happy when you get that. They never stop to ask, what do you want? This is a girl I work with in the hospital. And a lot of times while I'll talk to females and they'll tell me about, having a successful marriage, having a good quality man or high value man and this and this. And the first question I tend to ask them is that, well, the man you're looking for, what does he want? What does he require in a woman? And are you that? And they'll say, yeah, I am that. And I'll say, well, what is the guy that you want? What does he want out of a woman? And they'll say, I don't know. They'll look for me for the answer. And I'll say, well, then you haven't done your homework because you don't know what equipment that you need to take on the journey and for a man that you're looking for. You want a successful marriage. Did you bring the equipment for the journey of having a successful marriage? That's what I'm asking. Again, everyone looks like you just get to the mountaintop and that's just they want outcomes. They don't want process. I tell my kids the same thing. When you're doing math, you got to understand not just 2 + 2 is 4. You got to be able to explain and understand the process and why 4 items divided up into 2 separate groups, when you add them together, equal 4. The process, because when you do multiplication and it's more than 2 + 2, when it's 22 + 22, the process is still the same of addition, right? It doesn't change. That's what I'm trying to explain to people is that, again, you got to bring the right equipment for the journey that you're taking. And along the way, different equipment will be required in order for you to be successful. And what people will tend to see is never that you had to change equipment. Sometimes you didn't have the right equipment and you had to create something, or sometimes you had to use your own wits. They're never going to appreciate that. What you got to do is find other people who have been up on that mountaintop. Maybe people who failed at high points. People who failed at clearing that path. Not people who are down at the bottom telling you, oh, I'll wait till you get up the top and then I'll follow. Not them. Anyone who started to take the journey can appreciate you going past them. Any person who's failed at different points on this mountaintop can appreciate you getting past them and succeeding because they understood the risk, the effort, the labor, the journey, and how treacherous it was to get to that mountaintop. Do you hear what I'm saying? So again, folks, I'm going to leave you at that to understand that you're not alone in that. You shouldn't be mad at them. You should understand that that's a process. That's another outcome. Just like the temperature is going to drop the further you get up to the mountain. It's not the temperature hates you. It's just a byproduct of you being successful. And anyone that might have hate in their blood, that might have looked at someone and been like, oh, they Uncle Tom, or this and that, or said something that, is, admonishing another person that's successful. I ask you to look to what it took for them to be successful. If you've been successful, have people done it to you? Why would you do it to them? Maybe they don't agree, or maybe they don't want to buy into your plan, or maybe you don't want to hear about how successful they are. But again, for that person, what they're talking about is the effort it took to achieve that success. And that's what you're missing, because you too, if you're successful, will be in the same position that they are when you're successful as well. And there are some people that just gonna hate no matter what. They just want to see the world burn so that way they can be the king or queen of ashes. Let me say that again. You're going to encounter people who just want to see the world burn just so they can be the king or queen of ashes. So what you got to do is keep on going. Get to the mountaintop. Make that path. Forge that path. Understand that you're going to have times where you might slip or fall and failing. But the only time you fail is when you go down to the bottom of that mountain and never get back up to the top. Never try. I'm still climbing these mountains, folks. I'm still trying to get to see that sunrise at the mountaintop. And believe me, if you've ever seen a sunrise at a mountaintop, maybe even on a video, it's quite a different thing than seeing it down here on the ground. I'm going to tell you to keep striving, folks. Keep on pushing. I'm Phil Davis, Ancestry Lands. Leave a like, comment, share this video, like this video. If you're hating, give it a dislike or hate. Just type hate down on the bottom. It's all good to me. All right. If you're hating and you're twisting up about it, fine. This video is meant to inspire many more than it's meant to ignite more hatred from those who have hate. Again, it's meant to inspire people to understand that I too am a man who have failed in life, but I've failed at certain points in my life, but I've never failed at pushing past those failing points in life to succeed. And I want you to do that. I want you to push past those failing points in life to succeed, and understand you've never failed unless you stop. Phil Davis, Ancestry Lands. I'm signing off, folks. Take care.
Have you ever wondered how some people make a fortune by investing in vacant land? Well, look no further. We have the ultimate solution for you. Introducing Getting Dollars from Dirt, a beginner's guide to vacant land investing. This incredible book is your go-to resource if you're looking to make a splash in the real estate market. You'll discover proven strategies and expert tips to help you navigate the world of vacant land investing, even if you're a complete beginner. Say goodbye to confusing jargon and overwhelming information. This book is designed to provide you with practical steps to kickstart your journey towards financial independence. Learn how to identify the most profitable vacant land opportunities and maximize your returns. Getting Dollars from Dirt covers it all. You'll gain the confidence and knowledge you need to make smart investment decisions. Don't miss out on this golden opportunity. Grab your copy of Getting Dollars from Dirt today and start your path to wealth. Click the link in the description below to order your copy now. Remember, investing in vacant land has never been this accessible. Don't wait another second. Start building your fortune today.